Welcome to the Ministry Pivot Podcast with Russell St. Bernard, a podcast designed to assist leaders as they seize the season of opportunity by pivoting toward it. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hey family, Reverend Russ, super excited to be here with you today, tonight, whenever you're watching. Thank you for getting on the Ministry Pivot. It's been a year already. This is the first record that I've been able to do for the new year because we have been super busy. I'm sure you all have been busy prayerfully. It's been a great beginning of 2025 already. Big shout out to my church, Kingdom Fellowship, Pastor Watley, and our whole team here. We've hit the ground running with skates. We actually never stopped from after the new year began, after 2024 ended. But super excited to be back with this pivot. For the next couple of pivots, I want to talk about trending thoughts, not trends that are out there just yet, but some of the trends that I've been seeing and some of the things that I've been listening to and hearing and even doing as I'm dealing with coaching and consulting. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about was just some trending thoughts. And I have a couple of notes that I wrote down. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, to comment, to share, to subscribe. Don't forget to invite somebody to join you for this pivot or share it with somebody else after. Of course, don't forget to go on to ministrypivot.com to look at some of the articles that have been written, to look at some of the other information that we've shared. Also, super excited that my wife and I, big shout out, Erica St. Bernard, we are going to have a We Over Me a couples half-day session. For those of you that know, my wife wrote a book a couple years back, and we are excited about that book, and we've been doing We Over Me sessions, but this is our first time doing one gathering today, a gathering together with everybody here in the Maryland area. It's in April. You can find out more information about that if you just text the word marriage, and if you text the number 954 539 0841. Again, that's 954 539 0841. You'll be able to and text the word marriage to that number. You'll be able to register for it, find out more information about it. It is in April, the first Saturday in April. We're super excited about that, super excited to share with couples, to share with married couples, to share even with some engaged couples that may want to be there on that day. There'll be lunch provided, but we'll also have some great conference materials for you all, and we'll be able to dig deeper and invest in your marriage. So don't forget to check out the We Over Me half day. If you're on Eventbrite, you can just go to Eventbrite, type in We Over Me. You'll be able to see it. But if you, again, want to attend, the number is 954 539 0841, and you want to text the word marriage rather. Want to jump right in. This is going to be a pivot, just talking through trending thoughts. And so some of the things that I want to talk about in this series of probably 3 or so pivots we're going to talk through is, one of the things is, how do you invest? What are some trending ideas? What are some trending thoughts going into 2025? That are going to help you as we get ready to round out this first quarter. What are some trending ideas? And I think one of them is how you deal with leaders, no matter if you're in the church space, no matter if you're in the nonprofit space or you're in the for-profit space. You have people you serve with. You have people who help lead with you. And that's one of the things that I wanted us to talk about. And one of the things that I know to be true is that you have to make sure that you are checking in with your leaders. You're checking in with those that you serve. You're checking in with those who serve with you, and you're checking in with those who serve others inside your organization, inside your church. How that looks for us here, for me here, as I lead operations here at Kingdom Fellowship, but also as I teach and train and lead other leaders. It is the fact that while you all are on mission together, the mission is not the only thing that you all should partner on. I'm going to say it again. While you all are on mission together, you're serving in the right way, you're serving God in the right way, or you're serving to help your people wherever you are. Again, if you're not in the business, and not in the church world, and not in the not-for-profit world, but in the profit world, you are helping them to develop but your only commonality should not just be in what you all are doing together. It should be in how their life is. It should be in checking in on the people that you serve with, that serve with you to help make an impact. A couple of thoughts that I had in there. First thing is you've got to be able to check the box on understanding how your people tick. Now, obviously, shameless plug, I am a Gallup certified strengths coach. And so one of the ways I think is going to be very helpful for you to understand how your people serve is for you to know their strengths, but also not just for you to know their strengths, because you can't really read into their strengths as much, but for you to know your strengths. And so if you haven't done a strength assessment, I would encourage you to do so, or some other type of work profile, personality, life assessment. What I love about Gallup is that even though these are my strengths that I'm using for my job, these strengths also carry all the way through. My number one, as I've said before, many of you know, is competition. And that travels with me, not just with the work that I do here, but also with how I live life, also with me being involved in sports and me being involved in martial arts and me being involved in other athletic things. I am super competitive in that way. And that's a thing that I love to do. That's a thing that helps me work well. That's a thing that Russell enjoys. But also in the job environment, it's important for me to acknowledge that, because I know that that's a way in which I'm going to work best. If there is a competitive nature about it, if there is a competitive factor. Now, I will tell you one thing about my competition is I don't always have to win. Now, some people watching online like, no, you do. I don't always have to win. I have to be a part of a winning system, but I don't always have to be the one that's winning. I can celebrate just as hard for somebody else who's on my team and not even a part of my church. But I have many friends who are watching, listening to this podcast even now, who I'll text you and say, man, same team. I'll text you and say, man, we together. And you could be in a whole nother state. You could be in a whole nother country because I know that my strength is activated when I'm a part of a winning circle, when I'm a part of something and somebody that is winning. So my encouragement to you all is for you to understand how your team clicks. The first thing is you have to be able to look at their strengths, look at ways in which they are strong, look at ways in which they are engaged, look at ways in which they are, get this, motivated to do well. Because as we look at this trending thought for 2023, you are only going to be as strong. Your organization is only going to be as strong as the leaders that help support its mission. I'm going to say it again. Your organization is only going to be as strong as the leaders that help to support the organization's impact. That's the only way it's going to work. So I encourage you to look at their strengths. I encourage you to look at ways that they work well. The other thing is ways that they do not work well. There are some environments where you put, Russell, even though I am competitive, even though I am a maximizer, I am an achiever, all those are Gallup terms, just means that I want the best. I feel like I should be a part, I have significance in my top 10. I feel like I'm a part of something that's major and large. There are some things that make me work well, and there are also some things that suck the energy right out of me. There are also some conversations that I'm really not excited about. And this is the difference between being able to have a focus on your leaders and their strengths versus just focusing on your leaders and where you want them. Because yes, they're a part of the team. Yes, they should be trying to help the overall goal. But as a leader, it's important for you rather to know how they work best and how they work worst. And the challenge is, while you can't make everything that they do something that they love, you can try to make the majority of what they do something that they love. So I would focus you to look at, as we look at this trending thought and focusing on our key leaders, I would encourage you to look at what are their strengths, what are the ways in which they can grow, but also ways in which they can grow not just in the organization, outside the organization. When's the last time you asked them how the weekend was? When's the last time you asked them how their family was? When's the last time you asked them what thing are they trying to, go back and do? Maybe it's go back to school, or maybe it's start their own business, or maybe it's do something like what I'm doing now. Pastor Watley, I super appreciate my big homie allowing it and really encouraging me, even in the pivot stuff that I do, even in the coaching and training that I do. While I make sure nothing at the church falls, I also make sure that this is growing as well, because that's a full picture of who Russell is. And so, when's the last time you've done that for your leaders? When's the last time you looked at their strengths and tried to lean into it? And again, I would say you have to first look at your strengths. And if you need some help and some assistance with that, I definitely would love to engage with you on that. But the second thing is, not only as we're looking at leaders, as we're looking at this trending thought of leaders, we need to look at their strengths. We need to also work to pause and celebrate. I will tell you another strengths thing, as me being competition number one, but also me being achiever number two, means I love busy work. I love to do work. Now, sometimes it's busy work, but sometimes it's just work knocking things out. But I like being able to be motivated. I like being able to knock things out. What I do not like is when things are stagnant. What I do not like is when things are lackluster. What I do not like is moving forward. But the tension in that, y'all, and that's why I wrote this down in my notes, is that we have to work on pausing to celebrate. I really do think as we move through 2025 that it's already been moving super quick. So whether, again, you are a church leader, whether you are a for-profit leader, I really do think it is important for you to be able to pause and celebrate. Pause and celebrate what God has already done. Pause and celebrate what God did last year. Pause and celebrate what happened and went well this week already. Oftentimes we run, and our leaders get burnt down because we are not celebrating them, allowing them to pause in certain moments, and allowing them to see the importance in their pause, the importance in the things that we want them to have. And so, my encouragement for you today is to figure out ways in which you can celebrate your leaders. Not only do we have to make sure that we look at their strengths, not only do we have to make sure that we celebrate our leaders. The last thing that I wrote that I really want us to look at for this time, and as we looking at trending thoughts for 2025, and we look at our key leaders and us looking at their strengths and celebrating how they are formed, and also encouraging how they're formed, celebrating the big goal that all of us played a role in. But the last one is being able, as we celebrate, being able to link and sharpen. I have the thought from the book you all know, Stephen Covey, the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of those habits is sharpening the saw. But being able to have your leaders understand that their singular action also has a major impact in what we're able to do. So it doesn't matter if you are in the church world and the person is on a parking lot and they've never preached, they don't like to hold the microphone. Them doing what they do well in the parking lot impacts how that first time guest is greeted, impacts how that first time guest is seated, impacts how that first time guest is in worship, impacts how that first time guest children may be involved in children's ministry and those type of things. And it impacts how that first time guest may even receive the gospel of Jesus Christ. That at the end of the day, we've got to make sure that we link it all together with leaders, but also make sure that we allow leaders the moment to sharpen each other and to sharpen the space that they're in. And so my encouragement as we round out this first pivot of the year, as we round out this trending thoughts, is for you to look at your leaders and figure out how can you celebrate the wins all together. But the first one before that is how you look at their strengths. When is the last time you invested in your leadership? When's the last time you invested, not just monetarily, not saying you bring somebody like me in to come coach. I'm saying, when's the last time you invested some time and some energy into your leaders? When's the last time you just didn't take it for granted that the person who opens up the shop is going to open up the shop? When's the last time that you celebrate them, that you talk with them? And then also, when's the last time that you allowed them to see that their small act, because impact is had by several small acts that lead up to the powerful finish. At the end of the day, you have to understand that as the leader, you create the temperature in that. And so my encouragement for you today or tonight or whenever you're listening to this, and whoever you share this with, maybe you'll share this with your immediate supervisor, maybe you'll share this with your team leader, maybe you'll share this with those who you serve with, maybe you'll share this with yourself. You can listen to it again later on. But my encouragement is, as we go into 2025, as we continue through this first quarter, for you to figure out how you can develop your leaders, but how you can celebrate your leaders, and how you can make sure that your leaders feel connected. Thank you all for getting on again to Ministry Pivot. Thank you all for getting on to hear about this short pivot again. I'm super excited about next week. We're going to actually deal with, now that we look at one of the under trending topics, is not just looking at your leaders, but also looking at your reach strategy. Whether, again, you are in a nonprofit world at the church, or whether you are in a for-profit world outside of the church, all of us have to make sure that we're reaching new people to be able to engage them. And so we'll talk about that. Then we'll also talk about, once you reach new people, how do you make it sticky? How do you make it a place that they love to be a part of? So we'll talk about those things. And those are actually the three trending thoughts that I have for 2025. The first one, of course, we dealt with today, is dealing with your leaders, taking care of your leaders, empowering your leaders, strengthening your leaders. And then next time, we're going to look at being able to see your reach strategy. And then lastly, we're going to close up with your sticky strategy. How do you keep things sticky? Again, thank you all for getting on the Ministry Pivot. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to join my wife and I for our We Over Me half day that's going to come up in April. You can, again, text the number 954 539-0841. Again, that's 954-539-0841. And that number, you want to text the word marriage, and then you'll get a form back, and you'll be able to join us and register. I'm really excited about the We Over Me half day. Really excited to be able to pour into couples, be able to pour into married couples, be able to pour into engaged couples, so that you can have a stronger and a better marriage, and realize that it really is not about you, but it literally is about the we over the me. Again, thank you all for getting on to Ministry Pivot today. Thank you all for joining us and for sharing it. I look forward to seeing you. Don't forget that this is your season of opportunity. All you got to do is pivot toward it. God bless.
That's it for today's episode of the Ministry Pivot. We hope you enjoyed listening and gaining some valuable insight. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss out on our future episodes. And if today's show has resonated with you, please leave us a review to help others discover our podcast. For more resources and updates, visit our website at ministrypivot.com. And be sure to join our email list, as well as follow us on Instagram at Ministry Pivot. Thanks for joining us today, and we're excited to have you back next time for another insightful episode of Ministry Pivot. Stay connected, keep pivoting. We'll see you soon.